Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome to the video for Elden Ring Shadow of the Erdtree. My name is Ventus SGN. In this Elden Ring Shadow of the Erdtree build video, I'm going to show you my updated build for MALIKETH'S Black Blade. MALIKETH'S Black Blade is a colossal sword that you get from defeating the Remembrance boss, Maliketh the Black Blade, from the base game. With the Shadow of the Erdtree DLC, a few new items were brought to the game that increases this sword's damage potential and overall just makes it a lot more fun to use in battle when zone clearing or boss fighting. In this build video, I'm going to show you what I've come up with so you can try it for yourself and see how you like it. Now really quickly, before I get into all of that, do me a small favor and sub to the channel with notifications on so you don't miss any new uploads for Elden Ring, and like the video, I'd really appreciate it. Thank you. Alright, so the weapon I'm using is called MALIKETH'S Black Blade, and I have it at +10. This weapon comes with attribute scaling of B Strength, D Dexterity, and B Faith. It requires you to have a 34 in Strength, 12 in your Dexterity, and 20 in your Faith. It has a unique skill called Destined Death, an AoE attack that does about a dozen or so repeated attacks, as well as reduces your target's max HP while giving them a damage over time tick that lasts for a short time. Other equipment that I use for this build are the Erdtree Seal +10 for my incantations and the full Rakshasa armor set, which is another Shadow of the Erdtree DLC item that increases the damage you deal with the drawback of increasing the damage that you take. For more information on how to get the Erdtree Seal and the Rakshasa armor, please see the video links that will be shown on the end screen of this video. The talisman that I use for this build are the Phlox Canvas Talisman to raise the potency of incantations, the Two-Handed Sword Talisman to enhance attacks with two-handed weapons, the Dragon Crest Shield Talisman to boost physical damage negation, the Shard of Alexander to boost the attack power of skills, and the Claw Talisman to enhance jump attacks. On boss fights where the boss is a bit more aggressive, I'll use the Dragon Crest Shield. But for bosses with easy to read attack patterns that don't attack 27 times in a row on a whim, I can go for a bit more damage over protection and use the Two-Handed Sword Talisman. For the Mixed Wondrous Physick, I use the Stone Barb Crack tier with the Opaline Hard tier. The Stone Barb Crack tier makes stance breaking easier, which honestly has become my favorite thing to do when using colossal weapons, and the Opaline Hard tier is only there to help offset the penalty of the Rakshasa armor. If I wasn't using Rakshasa's armor, I would probably use the Spike Crack tier instead to enhance charge attacks, because another thing that I love to do is charge heavy attacks on bosses when I see an opening for it. Incantations for this build are Blessing of the Erdtree for healing over time, Golden Vow to increase attack and defense, Flame Grant Me Strength to increase physical and fire affinity attack power, Black Flame's Protection to increase physical damage negation, and Protection of the Erdtree to increase affinity damage negation. Attack incantations are the Black Blade, an incantation that comes from Maliketh the Black Blade boss that does a spinning slash attack that emits a wave of light. A second input allows for follow-up casting. Targets hit by this incantation will have their max HP reduced and will have a damage over time tick that lasts for a very short time. I also use Giant's Flame Take V for zone clearing and Ancient Dragon's Lightning Strike. Now when it comes to where to place your stats for this build, I use it mainly as a strength build, so I have my strength jacked all the way up to 75. Yours doesn't have to be that high, so 50 to 60 works just fine. I personally just want my melee attacks to hurt when I hit a boss. Your vigor can be whatever you're comfortable with. I kinda suck at dodging and avoiding boss attacks, so I need to be able to take a hit, so I usually keep my vigor at 60 or better. If you're better at learning boss mechanics than me, you could go for a lower score. My mind is at 60 only because I thought I would need it to be 60, but after beating several bosses, I didn't even use that much FP, so I feel like 50 would work just as well. Endurance needs to be higher, like 50 to 55, and that's only because most of the attacks that I use on this build drain stamina. Dexterity can be the lowest, 12 for Maliketh's Black Blade, and intelligence can also be at the lowest because this build doesn't use any intelligence at all. Faith needs to be 46 or better because the Black Blade incantation requires a Faith of 46, and Arcane can be empty because nothing in this build uses that stat. How I use this build in combat is by buffing all the way up for a boss fight, adding in a defensive spell for whatever element of the boss I'm facing. I'll usually try and fire off a Black Blade incantation first at the boss after summoning Spirit Ashes. When it comes to Spirit Ashes, I use the Mimic tier, and when it has the boss's attention, I'll use that time to launch a few more Black Blade incantations. The dot tick of the Black Blade only lasts for a few seconds, so the more times you can fire off this spell the better, but usually a boss will stop what it's doing and start attacking you as soon as you hit it with this incantation, so be careful when casting, and you don't always have to use the second input, especially if the boss is in close proximity to you. The Black Blade spell has a pretty decent range, so you can be kind of away from the boss when you cast it while it's fighting your Spirit Ashes. Jump heavy attacks are the go-to attack with this build for me because they quickly break the boss's stance while dealing crazy damage. The Black Blade's unique skill, Destined Death, kind of sucks. It takes way too long to cast to use it on a boss that's trying to kill you, so the best time to use it is when the boss's stance broken or when it's attacking your Spirit Ashes. Now, I don't advise using this skill a lot though. I tried to spam it as much as possible on multiple bosses on purpose just to see how effective it could be, and found out the hard way that this is just not a really good attack, which is why I'm guessing they made the Black Blade Incantation. Charge heavy attacks with this weapon are extremely powerful, so try and get a few of those off on the boss you're fighting, usually after they do one of their stronger attacks and they're recovering. Now, I know not every boss will allow this, so on the ones that have 0 recovery time, only use charge heavy attacks when it's attacking your Spirit Ashes, or when it's stance broken from jump heavy attacks, or after a crit attack on a stance broken enemy. Now, the only reason why I said that last part is because most of the time during the making of this video, I would break a boss's stance, but I would not be able to get to the spot that I needed to be in to get the crit attack on it before it recovered. So a charge heavy attack is the next best thing. That, or do the Destined Death attack. Try this build out and let me know what you think. Alright guys, and that's going to be it for this build video. If you liked it and you're going to try this build out, drop a like on the video. If you have any questions about this or anything else Elden Ring related, let me know down in the comments. Also, check me out on TikTok at VSGNSocial. The link will be in the description. Thank you so much for watching and have a great rest of your day. I'll catch you next time. Peace out.